What's going on, gamers? So we got an interesting video to get in here, and this is regarding the Switch and regarding Xbox publishing. Now, you guys know what I said, that Microsoft needs to be a strong publisher, and every third-party developer, publisher in the industry is supporting the Nintendo Switch too, because there's money to be made. They're not going to make that mistake like they did with the Switch 1. And when it comes to Xbox being a publisher, they need Nintendo. That's why that's one of my headlines. As you can see right here, the publishing is very strong, and when Microsoft releases, let me get off the camera real quick. When Microsoft releases games on the Switch 2, they actually sell well. All third-party publishers are eating right now on the Switch 2. You can have a game that's not doing very well, but then when they launch it on this console, meaning it's done selling, right? And that's what everybody's doing. They're putting games that they sold on the other generations on here because it's new, plus it's a portable experience. And look at this automatically right here. You see it's right here in front of your face. Fallout 4 Skyrim Edition, and it's #2 on the best sellers for this sale. Final Fantasy just came out. It's already #1, right? So it's like, wait, hold on. So Skyrim is still selling. Go down here. Skyrim's on sale. Oh, it's #1 right there on the Switch. We see that, right? Over here, Fallout 4 Anniversary Collection. Look at that. That's selling. It's right there. So this gives you the idea. Let's go down here again. Look at another Bethesda title. How many Bethesda games are this? 1, 2, 3, and then the bundle right here, 4 automatically. Doom gets in the top sellers also on the Switch as well. But this is Switch 2. We have Doom right there, as we see. How many Bethesda games? Another Bethesda game right there. Another Bethesda game right there. This is why you do not want to drop your publishing, Microsoft, and why you need the Nintendo Switch 2 and why you need Nintendo in general. We're seeing this right here in front of our face, right? That if you look at the bestsellers, they're right there. You could go over and you could just look at bestsellers in general. Skyrim was up here, but Final Fantasy 14 came out. Of course, Splatoon Raiders is #1. It's up there right now, though, and it's doing very well. And when it drops, it's going to actually spike up. But going to great deals, just like if people look at pre-orders in stores, we kind of see that it's right there with Final Fantasy 14 doing very well. And this is what I'm saying. If you try to put stuff only on Xbox, it's not going to work like you think it's going to work. Microsoft needs to be a strong publisher. It's not something that you need to guess. It is like, no, it's working very well here, and they're going to be making a lot of money. Millions and millions of dollars with Nintendo already. You see? But if you're thinking that things need to be locked into their ecosystem, like they're going to be playing the game like Nintendo and PlayStation, then it isn't going to work. That's why they didn't abandon Steam, as you see that they're going to stick with Steam. And you saw those multiple OEM models now. I think what they're going to try to do, don't get me wrong, sure, you could have multiple OEM models, but it gives you the idea that it's not going to just be a focus when you launch a generation on just an Xbox console focus. It's going to be Xbox PC models, and an Xbox handheld model. And what they're going to try to do is, I think there might be something where the Xbox PC model is the more expensive model. And if they want to try the console-like experience where Steam is not on there, you can still have that kind of like the Series X and S. But at the end of the day, those are all going to be, to me, optional luxury products, but they're not going to be something to sell like you're going to be selling, even 35 or 40 million. I think those days are over with. What they need to focus on the most is here, right here. And that's putting your games on all platforms. Definitely the Switch 2. Sometimes you can have better third-party results on the Switch 2 than you would on Steam and PlayStation, depending on the game or the crowd. It's possible. But the way things are selling on here now, I mean, we're seeing a lot of third-party developers eating big time. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed to outsell PlayStation third-party results, but Steam, sometimes they just don't buy anything. And on the Switch 2, you would get better results. Because in the Nintendo world, people actually buy games. It's not no subscription model sitting there, except if you're getting a Nintendo Switch Online for like $20, and that's literally nothing. But outside of that, when it comes to actual video games on the market, they actually buy games and they buy physical copies. You see? People say what they want about the key card, but at least you can still swap that around. It's better than a code. But all Nintendo first-party games and certain third-party developers are physical on cart. Physical preservation. So Microsoft trying to play the exclusive on Xbox is what I'm saying. You're missing out on something like this right up here, where Skyrim is right there with Fallout. You see that? Look at all these Bethesda games. Indiana Jones Ben came out, but it's still up there selling very well. You see a lot of third-party games that are selling. That's what I'm saying. And they're going to have an install base that's going to keep on growing. It'll probably pass up Xbox by the end of the year or early next year. Nintendo fiscal results are due on the 6th, so get ready for those numbers because they're going to tell you a lot. And that's what I'm saying. As that base is growing, all of them want to buy video games. So make sure, Microsoft, that you keep putting all your games over there so that you can become a strong publisher. This is what works for you. Trying to go back to the hardware exclusive game, it's not working. Gears of War should be in development for the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. Halo should have been on a Nintendo Switch 2. You could have had it up there. You see what I mean? It's like you're missing these opportunities. If you're going to put it on PlayStation and they can run it at Series S, you need to put it on the Switch 2 as well. As you see, the numbers are looking pretty good here. It's up there and it's selling well. It's not like people don't have interest, right? So we kind of get the idea of Bethesda pretty much doing very well on the Switch 2 shop, right? We kind of get that idea. It's not a mistake. So what I have to say is, obviously, this is working well. Their games actually sell. But the problem here is that they just haven't made any of those new type of games. People tell you what they want. Indiana Jones was a good game. I remember beating that. Skyrim was a good game. Everybody knows that. Fallout 4 is a good game. So you guys kind of got the idea there of pretty much looking at the Switch eShop right there, right? It's right there in front of you. Another thing I have to say is that just hear me out here. I don't see how if Microsoft, remember we said this before, I don't see how if Microsoft is thinking anything about focusing on console exclusivity is going to benefit them in any sense, right? One, you're going to lose publishing profit no matter what you try. Two, nobody's going to buy Xbox hardware like you think. Three, the only thing you have is publishing left. Everything else we've said in multiple videos, they do not have left. And four, you want as many people playing your games as possible. This is why I didn't understand why you didn't have Halo multiplayer. Imagine Halo multiplayer, but it would have been on the Switch 2, on PlayStation, and on Steam, selling easily 1 million plus copies between each. I think Steam, they would have probably did 1.5 million. But I think you would easily get that. And that's 4.5 million copies. Then you would have had millions of people online playing Halo. And there would have been a longevity to that. And you could have been adding like custom content like you did to single player campaign missions. You could have had custom multiplayer content. You could have added in custom stuff like a Forge. Like there were so many ideas to make that Halo campaign evolve actually really good. But what you did is just literally destroy it and let me know that you just don't know what you're doing. So you can't do anything half-hearted when it comes to any field. Publishing, everything needs to be on a Switch 2. Everything needs to be on PlayStation. Everything needs to be on Steam. Because you have been basically doing that. Grabbing one little exclusive and putting it there on your console when really that console is done selling doesn't make any sense because that's supposed to be for moving hardware. You just raised your prices to $800. In Europe, it's worse. In Europe, it's like $920 something. By the way, y'all said 33% price increase. It's freaking crazy when you think about this, right? It's great. Like have you guys seen the prices in Europe? It's $900 for PS5 Pro without a disc drive. But guess what though? The PS5 Pro is like a PC. It's fine. But in Europe, you're paying $1,000 with tax for a Series X disc drive. That's absolutely stupid. Remember, when you convert European currencies, it's absolutely different. This is just American numbers, but really if you convert this into US dollars, this is $900. Yeah, they had a 33% price increase in Europe. Nobody's buying this. So if nobody's buying your consoles, then like I said, be a publisher. I think the Xbox consoles are pointless now. Like to make any more, I don't see the point. I guess you just want luxury OEM models, right? And I guess a luxury overpriced console. Not that you give people those specifications and they're like, this is not overpriced from a PC perspective, but I mean like a console gamer does not think of paying these prices for consoles. A console gamer's not thinking of paying over $1,000 plus for a console. So what that means is that you just need to sell really good video games. The Nintendo Switch right there just showed you Look at that. Your games are still up there. You're getting the support there. Remember back then that you wouldn't get no third-party support like you would think when it comes to Nintendo worlds. But in today's world, it's a totally different algorithm. So you need to be on that market, because if you put your game there at the beginning, it could be selling through the whole generation. It's not something you want to miss, as we saw just right there. But if you went to other shops, though, Fallout 4 sold really well on PlayStation. I'm just saying, you get another start again. Same thing with Indiana Jones. You probably sold more copies of Indiana Jones on the Nintendo Switch that you did on the PlayStation. I'm curious because it was always selling well on there. Now, the other games, they were there day one on those platforms, and the Switch 2 was not out. And, you know, nobody would probably buy that in the Switch 1 like that, because the stats or the optimization and the specification is just like, oh man, no, this is mid. But having DLS on there, oh yeah, you could put anything on there. After seeing what Capcom was doing, getting their games to run 60 frames per second, it says a lot. And third-party support will only grow on there. You can need to take whatever you can get, because outside of that, it's just not working for Xbox. I do not see... I'm sorry, I just do not see them even outselling the Switch 1 after this price hike. Unless Nintendo drops off the rest of their consoles in Europe. They said they were going to stop doing that because they're just going to stop manufacturing over there. But even then, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting seeing Xbox hardware prices in August convert into sales. I want to see what they're going to sell now at August 1st, all the way at the end of August, from the NPD results and from worldwide stats. And then when Gears launches, I want to see what it's going to sell that month. I guarantee you it's not going to sell as much as you think. You guys are going to be in for a surprise. And I just don't understand what Microsoft is doing with Gears of War, because it's going to flop. And that's the sad part. They're not trying to microtransaction you. They're not trying to like put battle passes in there. They're keeping it off of PlayStation, and they didn't announce anything for the Switch 2. And I just don't see how, if a game costs you $500 million for the PlayStation port and for marketing, how are you going to sell 8 million copies to get profit? Because that would be 560 million. I guess if you want to sell 7 million, including early access, yeah, you could probably get to 500 million, but then you're breaking even. How are you going to make profit? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, right? And remember what they were saying too. This is our plan. It's going to be single player games that we choose. After Matt Booty come out saying don't expect all single player games, because it's like, yeah, of course, because they're saying they're choosing like one a year. That we choose for Xbox exclusivity and multiplayer for multi-platform. And it's like, but the first big multiplayer game you drop, Gears of War, you're making it an exclusive. You don't make any sense. When you're playing a multiplayer game today, definitely a shooter in a world where games like that are dropping all around it consistently, definitely in the holidays, and games like that can die off real quick. Why would you not want a community with 2 console bases that could give you millions and more players in that online world? It's going to fall off a cliff. PC gamers move on fast, and then they go back to old games, or they play some weird indie games, or do whatever. Gears is not guaranteed to hold PC gamers' attention. It's not. I think that when it comes to Xbox legacy IPs, they had their shine in the 360 era, but you can't play that game like you played back then. And this is just something to talk about. It's like, you also don't have the install base, and nobody wants to buy your console. Definitely in Europe and in Japan. I don't know why you did this. But of course, it's a greedy company, and you're more expensive than the PlayStation. That's ridiculous. No. You're losing. How are you more expensive than the basis that you're losing to? They did the same thing with the ROG Ally. Why is that expensive? Why is the Xbox more expensive than the PlayStation? Why was Game Pass more expensive than Netflix? You see what I'm saying? And you don't have any of those dominant factors. It's like you try to do Outer Worlds at 80. It didn't even work at 70. That should have been $59.99. You need to put Outer Worlds 2 on the Switch. See what I mean? Because Bethesda games are actually doing good. Or any games like that, they actually enjoy them. And when you do it, remember $59.99 for that. Drop the price across other consoles, and do that. Anything right now that you don't have on the Switch 2, you need to be looking at that market. AGN just proved that to you. So I want you guys to let me know what you actually think about what I just showed you. Like I said, become a member, leave a tip down below, like, comment, subscribe, keep on gaming no matter what platform you're on. And just remember, you want them to be a strong publisher if you want Microsoft to look good at anything. Everything else, it's just going to look like it's not doing well. Game Pass failed. Exclusives failed. Xbox hardware failed. The cloud failed. Xbox Play Anywhere, or everything's an Xbox, failed. Like, when you think about everything they've done, it just didn't work. Don't kill your publishing next, because, like I said, that's all you have left. Sure, you can be excited for the Helix if you want, but I would be surprised if it sold 10 million. Just saying. Later.